What is the impact of Typhoon Pablo's fury to the food production program of 4 provinces battered by the weather disturbance? The Department of Agriculture continues to impact and how it will affect its rice and corn production program. Joining us tonight on the phone is Agriculture Assistant Secretary Salvador Salacup. Good evening, sir.
And good evening to our televiewers.
Yes, sir. We know you continue your validation report on the impact of Typhoon Pablo on agriculture. Is it bad, and can you give us in detail like how rice and corn production has been affected so far in the 4 provinces?
Well, to give our televiewers an update, as of 11 a.m. this morning, total damage has been pegged at 2.57 billion pesos, and 1.37 of this, 1.37 billion is attributed to damage to crops, particularly rice, corn, and of course fruits and vegetables, and coconut. And for infrastructure such as irrigation systems, we're pegging it initially at 1.2 billion pesos. So far, these are the figures that have been reported to us. We're continuing the validation on this. Our regional field unit director still in the affected areas and still gathering critical information to give us policy directions on how we can help plan out our rehabilitation programs for these affected regions. Yes.
So, sir, having those figures mentioned, how many % of the country's rice production is now affected, and will this be sufficient to affect the rice self-sufficiency program for 2013?
It's still very low. That figure is just around 0.04% of our total rice palay production for this year. Let us remember our target for this year on our build-up to achieve self-sufficiency for rice. For this year, we're looking at 18 million metric tons of palay. And for corn, we're targeting 7.5 million metric tons. The total damage so far, as I said, is around 0.4%. Therefore, we should not worry about this event affecting our targets for our drive towards self-sufficiency.
Sir, how about corn? Are these provinces also major producers of corn?
Yes, that's a correct impression. But let us remember also that this event was timed wherein most of our farmers had already harvested their corn produce, and most of the areas that were affected, if there were some plantings to corn, they were in their vegetative stages, meaning they can easily recover. And by the way, our regional field units are ready to replace the seedlings that were damaged by Typhoon Pablo, particularly for rice, corn, and other vegetable commodities.
So, sir, aside from that, you've mentioned, what else is the DA doing to ensure that replanting can again begin, and what other assistance are we providing to them?
Well, as I said, our regional field units have already been alerted even before Pablo struck the areas. Secretary Alcala already gave instructions that seedlings would be on standby in preparation to really give the immediate support to our affected farmers. Therefore, the first thing to do is to, number one, evaluate the total damaged areas. We encourage our farmers to enlist with their municipal agricultural officers, and in turn, they will be validated by the local government units. Therefore, the list that the MAUs and the PAUs will provide our regional field units will be the basis for those replacement seedlings and seeds to be distributed to our affected stakeholders.
All right, so what about our food production? Let's say pineapple, durian, and bananas. Can you give us an update on that?
Okay, we're looking and investigating closely the damage that were caused on our banana plantation, our private sector banana plantations. Initial reports by private sector is that it has reached 3 billion pesos, but as I said, we are revalidating this. And the good thing about bananas is that once they just fall and be affected by these typhoons, their suckers can easily generate. Therefore, we see a quick recovery to this, although there are missed opportunities already because of this typhoon. But then on the recovery side, we see that there is a bit of a big potential for an easy recovery, as I said, because of the suckering approach that our banana producers are using.
Sir, how about a final word from you, ensuring our people that there's really nothing to be feared, especially we have our targets for 2013?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our dear televiewers, we reiterate that there's not much damage. It will not highly impact on our targets for self-sufficiency, particularly for rice and corn. Let us also remember that the major producing rice and corn regions of the Philippines are in central and northern Philippines. Therefore, our harvests have been projected for this year. Specifically for palay, we will be hitting our 18 million metric tons target for the year. And for corn, we are looking at a 7.5 million metric tons produced for the whole year. Big jump from last year's 6.9 million metric tons. So this ensures the public that our staple agricultural commodities will not be affected by this Typhoon Pablo.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for joining us tonight on NewsLive. That was DA Assistant Secretary Salvador Salacup. Thank you, sir.
Thank you and good evening.